In today's biased news, Niger gives the French military the boot, Hollywood writers declare victory, and the ethnic cleansing in Nagorno-Karabakh continues. On Monday, French President Emmanuel Macron announced the withdrawal of French troops from Niger, a former colony, following a military revolt that overthrew the previous president. The whereabouts of the country's French ambassador, who was supposed to return with the troops, are currently unknown. Macron accused the new government in Niger of holding the ambassador hostage, as the new government had revoked diplomatic immunity and demanded his departure a month ago. While Macron expressed his desire for an orderly withdrawal, the Nigerian government insisted on a negotiated framework and joint agreement for the envoy and troop withdrawal. French sources suspect that the coup leaders are using the ambassador and his team to humiliate France, its brutal colonial master. The French embassy in Niger has been on lockdown for weeks, with protests putting pressure on Paris to bring the envoy back. The French Foreign Ministry spokesperson declined to provide details on the ambassador's return or the situation at the embassy, but emphasized that France would not be held hostage. Quite the ironic choice of words, considering France's role in subjugating the region. French troops, which had no right to be there in the first place, have yet to start their departure. Concerns about the use of force by France have historical backing, as the country's military brutally crushed independence movements in almost all their former colonies. How this all plays out in Niger remains to be seen, but with any luck, the decolonization of Africa will continue and accelerate. Victory is announced as Hollywood writers have officially ended their 5-month strike after union leaders approved an agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. Writers will be free to work again, pending a ratification vote on a new 3-year contract with Hollywood studios. The agreement encompasses various changes, including fairer payment, better terms with streaming shows, and limiting the use of artificial intelligence. The strike, one of the industry's longest, began in May when the Writers Guild of America authorized its members to strike amid stalled negotiations with major studios, which have been massively undercutting their workers as profits skyrocketed. Writers sought better pay and job stability in the age of online streaming, as well as protections regarding studios' use of artificial intelligence. The strike lasted 146 days, just 5 days shy of becoming the longest in the Guild's history. Writers won concessions in various areas, including residual payments for streaming shows, transparency on viewership numbers for platforms like Netflix, and a guaranteed minimum number of writers for pre-development mini-rooms. Tens of thousands of ethnic Armenians are fleeing the region of Nagorno-Karabakh for Armenia following a rapid military operation by Azerbaijan. Over 28,000 of the 120,000 Armenians living in the target area have crossed the border into Armenia, making it one of the largest population movements in the South Caucasus since the dissolution of the Soviet Union. This refugee crisis has been triggered by Azerbaijan's recent military victory over Karabakh, a region recognized internationally as part of Azerbaijan, but with a majority Armenian population. Many are leaving behind their homes and possessions, with some sleeping in cars or seeking warmth alongside the mountainous roads leading to Armenia. The crisis in Karabakh has reshaped alliances in the South Caucasus, where Russia, the United States, Turkey, and Iran vie for influence. Armenia, formerly aligned with Russia, has had public disagreements with Moscow, and has faced calls for its prime minister to resign. As part of a wider framework for political analysis, when the interests of great powers in a particular conflict aren't very high, as is the case here, unlike Ukraine or the Taiwan question, national feuds are allowed to be dealt with locally, with very few calls for democracy, peace, or a stop to oppression by powerful governments and media alike. It's only working-class refugees who end up paying the price. It's worth noting that this event, regardless of lack of media coverage, is an act of ethnic cleansing, and has rightly been compared to the treatment of Palestinians by Israeli occupation forces. In today's lightning round, a devastating fire has claimed the lives of at least 100 people, and left over 150 others injured during a wedding celebration in northern Iraq. According to official reports, the chairman of China Evergrande Group, the problematic massive real estate developer, has been placed under police surveillance. The UK government has initiated one of the country's largest new oil and gas ventures in years. Quoting the country's energy minister, "We will continue to back the UK's oil and gas industry to underpin our energy security, grow our economy, and help us deliver the transition to cheaper, cleaner energy." Effective rhetoric, but this will obviously not be the case. And finally, following Ukrainian officials' claim of killing Russian Vice Admiral Viktor Sokolov, Russia's Ministry of Defense has released new videos purportedly featuring the man. Kyiv has attempted to cast doubt on the authenticity of the footage. And to end with some positive news, a study by researchers from Cornell University and Microsoft has found that working from home can significantly reduce a person's work-related carbon footprint. Full-time remote workers experience a 54% reduction in emissions compared to office workers. Hybrid workers who work from home 2 to 4 days a week reduce their carbon footprint by 11 to 29%. But just one day of remote work results in a negligible 2% reduction. There you go, another argument to throw at your boss if he wants you to get back in the office. That's all for today. We'll be back day after tomorrow with more news. If you'd like to see longer episodes with more in-depth analysis, consider becoming a patron so we can grow and expand.